right, Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2.
I said I wonder, is someone taking over under the golden dome?
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over in a short amount of time. I first off want to say thank you to Kimbria and Boring Hornet for popping in before we even got started. So thank you guys for supporting the show. Thank you for the supers. I appreciate that. We're going to talk about the president delivers ultimatum to Hamas: accept and deal and release hostages or pay the consequences. So I feel like a lot of these are, just a bunch of hot air, and I'm not saying that because it's the president. I'm saying this because a lot of these, it never ends up going anywhere. I'm hoping that, some of this just goes away forever because we've been talking about it now for however long. I mean, how many months has it been? I know it's been over a year. Again, everyone wants the hostages home. Everyone wants this war to end. The president, we're going on 3-something years. The president wrote on Truth Social, "The Israelis have accepted my terms. It is time for us to accept as well. I have warned Hamas about the consequences of not accepting." He continued, "This is my last warning. There will be not another one. Thank you for your attention to this matter," which is kind of, it's almost comical. He always uses that. He says, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." He's very polite about it. But what he is talking about, is a massive, massive threat to their entire country. This is an event that has gone on since October of 3 years ago. It really is going on now 4 years, I believe. Jeez, it's so insane how fast time has flown. Now, we're going to talk about how not only war is near, but something very strange is going on. And I'm also going to be mentioning a video or a set of pictures that was actually sent in, I believe, to Mr. MB333. Very, very strange stuff. We're going to talk about all of that tonight. So stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfugglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
The flag above ya, is it the same one? You think you wonder. I said I wonder. The flag above ya, is it the same one? You think you wonder.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over in a short amount of time, so let's get right back into it. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So another shout out to Kimbria. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for supporting our show. The show might look a little bit differently. I ended up I had one of my main lenses getting destroyed. So we do not we no longer have that. So if it looks a little bit differently, I apologize. And then the president delivers ultimatum to Hamas: accept deal and release hostages or pay the consequences. Dex, do you want to go into that and what the heck is going on with that?
Yeah, that's the one we just covered. But yes, I'll give my opinion on it. He, as you said, a lot of times you don't expect them to take these deals. It's just, wonder if it's just all talk. But apparently they're gearing up to invade one final time, they being Israel. So we'll see what happens with the Strip there.
Well, so more so, what I mean is, so as far as his ultimatums, he's made several of these ultimatums before, and, well, plenty of ultimatums over the last couple of years since he's been president. He has said, you have 60 days, you have 30 days, you have 15 days. I
think the last one they released a big chunk of hostages. They just didn't release them all.
Yeah, so, I mean, this might actually be successful in a lot of ways. But what they do is they kind of skirt around a lot of these. They'll release hostages, but then they'll have Houthi rebels do some sort of huge event. I don't think it's a coincidence that there was underwater sea cables cut, and they're now accusing Houthi rebels. Who knows? That could be a Fantastic Freddy to then escalate things. But yeah. And then we have NATO's eastern flank braces for Russia's war games. NATO's eastern flank has, of course, been beefing up, and we've been covering all of the different changes along this. And of course, now you have, you have ditches, you have fences, you have dragon's teeth, you have actual air defense systems going in many of these countries. And they say Russia's neighbors are preparing for a nervous few days next week when the Kremlin holds its Zapad 2025 war games along with its ally, Belarus, its first since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The drills running September 12th through the 16th will have some maneuvers taking place close to Poland and Lithuania as the Kremlin practices for a possible clash with NATO forces. Now, I don't know if you watched the news video that we just did before this, but if you look at what's happening right now, if hypothetically you are thinking that possibly something's about to pop off, well, look at the timing of this. We are about to have September 12th and 16th, the same time that supposedly people are thinking that the conditions are going to be favorable for China and Taiwan. You have them doing this massive drill. Now, we have seen many times, including even our own country, doing drills that ended up turning into the real thing. Specifically, when we took those B-2 stealth bombers, it was a drill as far as everybody knew publicly, but what ended up happening is it was a diversion where the B-2 bombers, went this way. Well, a couple of the B-2 bombers went all the way to their target, and they took out the nuclear facilities in Iran, right? That was just an example that this happens all the time where you have a military drill that turns into the real thing. Is this something like that? Well, this is the scary part. Is my opinion is if this does go down, and I hope it doesn't go down in the next month, I hope we have at least a year so people can, prep for this. But if it did happen in the next month, look at what's happening right now. China is prepping. They just found at least 5 new places where they are building huge bases. They have loaded up their whole coastline with ships, and they are doing drills like nobody's tomorrow. And they're even talking about even placing mines and making a submarine trap right by the Paracel Islands. They're essentially doing everything that they would do right before a real invasion of Taiwan. Now people go, well, who cares? It's Taiwan. Well, Taiwan is a massive deal. Japan and all of the other countries, nobody's going to let this happen. And it's not so much that they care so much about Taiwan. I don't even think they care about the chips as much, because the chips are in process of moving towards our way and towards the U.S. I think it is because of the straits, the power, the canals. The thing is the Hormuz Strait, the Taiwan Strait, all of these different straits, the strait by Japan, all of these straits essentially have all of our resources travel in them. So if you controlled that, you control the power of that area. So with China basically declaring everything in their area, their waters, theirs, this is a massive, massive deal. Dex, as far as these exercises that are going on, this is a massive, massive deal. This wouldn't just be China and Taiwan. Even Mark Rutte with NATO believes that it will be Russia taking on Ukraine, Iran taking Israel, which it looks like it's lining up as well. And then, of course, you have Russia talking about, Russia and NATO. And then, of course, Venezuela and Guyana, and Venezuela and the U.S.
Well, yeah, certainly. And the Zapad exercise, I think, is another opportunity for them to move troops, and they did that. One of the Zapad exercises was used to move troops in before they actually launched the attack into Ukraine. So it certainly could be a prep for something with Europe, the rest of Europe.
So with this being said, I think that people really need to pay attention right now because the next month is really, really crucial. Fugel fam, if you're out there, please do an inventory of your family, of your plans. How are you going to get home if you're at work and something happens? Lola Cafe, thank you so much. Again, thank you so much, Lola Cafe, Kimbria, and Boring Hornet for supporting this early in the show. And then China unveils a fighter-sized combat drone. Dex, do you want to go over this combat drone and why it's important?
Yeah, one of the many things that came out from the military parade was the unveiling of the combat-sized fighter drone, the autonomous war machine that matches the J-10 fighter performance. So it's got a striking display of military innovation. Obviously they rolled out all of their new technology, but this is one of the ones that we haven't talked about. And I think it's important to understand because they are saying specifically that they now have the capability with these fighter drones. These are the ones that would be flying in combat with other planes. That they've gotten ahead of us. Like, we're behind on this. We have them in development. We have it in Skunk Works. We have it in concept. But we're yet to get into production with these fighter drone capabilities that fly alongside formations of military aircraft or other fighter planes that have a pilot, where they may take off and go handle 4 targets while the pilot stays on the target he's working on. Or they may split off and handle a dogfight from incoming jets. So this drone capability is probably one they stole from us, just like everything else, because it seems like everything they built just sort of looks like it comes out of a copy and paste of a design from U.S. Skunk Works. But nonetheless, they are at least showing it that as if they have it. We had not necessarily seen it in flight or gone up against it in combat to know if it's really all there, or if it's just a pretty picture on the ground to present to everybody.
By the way, thank you, Thomas Murphy, 3rd ever Super on a live stream. Thank you so much. Tim Oliver, again, thank you for being number 3 top fan as well. And then Heath Spear from Australia. It's awesome to see that you're still here after years now. So thank you all to the Fugel fam. And make sure to thank your mods in the chat. Of course, make sure to drop an M in the chat because they are always doing an awesome job, especially whether the show is good or not, or if it's hit or miss. Or by the way, it's 96 degrees in my little studio here. Man, I cannot wait to get some sort of mini split in here or something. It has just been hell this last 3 weeks. We've had a heat wave in the Northwest, but we actually had a couple days where it was great. And of course, those were the weekend days where we don't do shows. All right, and then make sure to go check out EMP Shield if you haven't already. I hope that people have taken us seriously on as far as our affiliates, because the affiliates normally, if somebody's telling you to get a ball shaver, I don't think it's priority. But as far as the stuff that we're telling you about, we've told you about for years. We don't rotate them out. We don't rotate them out because of a third-party company. We don't have a multi-channel network filling our slots. Again, no offense to anybody that does that. I think that there's a lot of great channels that have them. But as far as these, we truly, I've always been super, super weird about the affiliates that I've had. That's why you've only seen the same 5 or 6 in the last 5 or 6 years. And that's because I believe that these will either save your life, make your life more comfortable through a disaster, or, again, make you comfortable through one. So this one in particular will actually protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, gas and solar in the case of the energy and the bug out. And you can even wire these into your home. They now have a Starlink model. So again, check that out too if you have the Starlink system. They're very easy, plug and play for most things. For your car, it takes 10 minutes to wire in. Red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, green to ground. This isn't a normal surge protector you're going to get at Fred Meyer or even on Amazon. This is a patent surge protector. This company and technology is being put up most likely near you in the United States. They are working with government agencies. They're working with DOD or DOW, I guess now, DHS, U.S. Air Force, FBI, and many more. So this is this will literally ground the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your car, fry your device, fry your generator, fry your house. The house version, also another thing to keep in mind, it protects everything plugged in within 250 linear feet. So that means everything plugged in, all of your electronics are going to be protected. Even if the grid doesn't come back on, your generator will. And then you have all of your electronics, and they're not fried permanently. So go to marfuglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. Super, super important to look at the main kind of things that we might go through. And really, those should be the top kind of 3 priorities you should have. You should have food, water, and protection. And then as far as look at what they're going to do. I mean, it's pretty simple to see that any military op, any kind of person going after a country like ours, they're going to want to take out our power and our communications. And that's exactly what they're practicing for. All right. And then Tim Oliver, good to see you. Got settled in, Adam. Still waiting on that text to collab. I know that you've had so much free time, LOL. Good to have you back too, Dex. I hope everyone is safe and well. Tim Oliver, I'm always down. I've got 4 kids though, so it's much harder to do things like Wages World, which is one of my I would call him one of my best internet friends. We've never met in person, but we, he contact each other almost every other day. I still don't do as many collabs as I want to do. Like I want to just do more stuff with my friends. So Tim Oliver, I'm always open to that kind of stuff. All right. And then Dex, EU and U.S. officials meet as the president says he is ready to impose further sanctions on Russia.
Well, I guess the 2 weeks are up. He said he would know within a couple weeks if anything was going to move forward. And so the EU's most senior sanctions envoy was holding talks in Washington with U.S. officials after Donald Trump said he was ready to take further action against Russia over the war. So David O'Sullivan, the EU sanctions envoy, is meeting with the U.S. counterparts. Actually, it happened today, Monday, as Europe and the U.S. look for tougher measures. Ahead of the meeting, ahead of the European Council, hailed the transatlantic cooperation over sanctions against Russia. The European Commission spokesperson also confirmed the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen spoke to the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance over the phone. The only topic during the call was about Ukraine. So obviously there's all this conversation going on right now about what is going to be the response or the next thing to Ukraine. Asked by a reporter at the White House on Sunday if he was ready to move to the quote-unquote second phase of sanctions against Russia, Trump responded, "Yeah, I am," without elaborating. So that was it. He just said, "Yeah." Now, Russia doesn't care about sanctions. They haven't cared. None of them have done. It hasn't done anything to them, or if it has, it's given them. They've found ways to work around it.
They've done
China
better.
has been studying. Yeah. China has been studying everything that Russia's done because they know that it's going to happen to them when the day comes for them to invade Taiwan. So they've all been preparing, and I think they've got, and we just saw the big meeting in China. I don't think, India is going to stop buying the oil from Russia over, tariffs or and any of these sanctions. They're going to continue to get their money from China and India and others, and I think Russia's going to be just fine. So we'll see. If these sanctions, the second round of sanctions is really going to make a difference. I can't imagine it will.
So the thing with sanctions is they've skirted all of them. They've done better than they did before. And it's like, with all of these, I don't know what kind of extreme things they can. It is kind of crazy that this is a country that we fully consider an adversary, but we are still actually giving them money for certain things. A lot of people really can't grasp like how much we work with countries that are really our enemy. I mean, China, it's unbelievable how much we depend on China. Antibiotics are one of the things. It's a mind blower that we have 90-something% of our antibiotics coming from China. That's insane. Or at least the active pharmaceutical ingredients. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. And then more sanctions, what is it going to do? It looks like these are all preparing. They're all preparing for it. China is storing gold, storing wheat, storing corn, storing everything. I mean, it's insane how many things they have that China is storing, and that's all because they believe that they're going to go through these financial hardships from sanctions from taking Taiwan. It's super clear that there's going to be a war for, like, I honestly don't even think about the people that say that this isn't going to happen anymore. It's just it's insane to think that this isn't going to happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. And then Hezbollah and Iran exploit Maduro's Venezuela for cocaine cash. So there's also there's all sorts of connections popping up with the cartels, with everything here. So Dex, let's briefly go over Hezbollah, these connections that are popping out. Of course, Hezbollah and Iran. And
so the U.S. officials say Trenda Aragua works closely with the Cartel of the Suns, a network of Venezuelan military elites long accused of moving cocaine in collaboration with Hezbollah. So the State Department spokesperson Anna Kelly told the media that President Trump has taken numerous actions to curtail Iran's proxies like Hezbollah, such as sanctioning senior officials and the financial facilitators. The president has proven that he will hold any of those groups accountable that threaten the national security of our country by smuggling narcotics intended to harm Americans. So the main thing to think about here is we've talked for years now how Hezbollah has had ties into into Venezuela. So Iran obviously controls Hezbollah. Hezbollah goes into Venezuela. We were worried quite a bit about the number of Venezuelans that were coming across our border in the prior presidency, where we were worried that many of the people from that organization could be funneling in there as well because of those ties. Well, that same tie is obviously exploiting the cartel and working with the cartel to obviously make money, to drive drugs and other things through, because they need funds, they need fundage. So that's something that's going on, and that's why you're seeing this expansion, at least in the narrative, to talk about Venezuela, not just their single gang, but talk more about them being tied to Iran and what does that mean in the bigger picture.
If people don't get it, Venezuela, this isn't just about drugs. This isn't just about taking out the narcotics. In a bigger picture of everything, it really boils down to resources. This is coming down to countries that may or may not have these huge kind of deposits of the next big thing. It was oil, the oil countries ran things, but now it's going to be all of the mineral countries that really, really control things. And that's why you're literally seeing big countries talking about even invading other countries, because whoever controls that will control the future, because the future is a totally different one from anything we've ever seen. AI, power usage, all of these things are now daily talk subjects. And people really aren't seeing the writing on the wall. I know all of you, so it's kind of, kicking a dead horse, but it's like everybody here is a watcher. Your friends and family aren't seeing this coming at all. And then Supreme Court upholds the roving patrols for immigration stops in Los Angeles. So many people don't actually know that this is even happening. But as far as some of the things that are happening around the country, I mean, obviously everybody's reeling about this huge Hyundai raid that just happened. Over 400 plus, illegal immigrants were taken out of the battery plant just recently, and everybody's having a hubbub. People are taking sides on this. People are forgetting that this is something where they agree with 90% of the laws, but when it comes to coming into a country without permission, all of a sudden over the last 6 years or so, everybody in our government has been telling you it's totally okay to do this. Meanwhile, if we have a dream, if I have a dream of moving to France, I can't do this. I can't just move to France. I can't go to Greece. I can't just go into some other country and just start living there. There's rules about that. You have to immigrate, and you have to do it in the proper channels. And it's just like anything. I mean, heck, you can get a ticket for jaywalking. You can't just grab something off the shelf and walk out. These might be minor crimes, but they're still crimes. As far as illegally going into a country and then potentially working for years and years and years, and in some cases not paying taxes, I mean, that's a massive, massive crime compared to many. And many people look at this like it's nothing. And that's only because of the training and the washing of our brains. I mean, this is something that everybody knows about. They've turned it into an emotional thing. They turned it into emotional. These are just families trying to get, ahead. Don't separate them when they come over. In my opinion, I would never put my kid in danger. If the roles were reversed and we had to go to Mexico to save our lives, or if there was just no opportunity here, I would never, ever take my kids in a dangerous situation where we're traveling possibly hundreds of miles on foot and, going in positions where my kids could get hurt or we could get separated. It just wouldn't be an option. There's a lot of debate about this, but everybody's got their strong opinions. The main thing is, everywhere around this country right now, you see these strong moves, and I think that this is partially to emotionally trigger us, to distract us, because this 9 out of 10 times is going to trigger somebody's emotional response, part of their brain, and people are going to start freaking out. The Supreme Court ruled Monday for the president's administration and agreed U.S. immigration agents may stop and detain anyone they suspect in the U.S. illegally based on a little more than they're working at a car wash, speaking Spanish, or having brown skin. In a 6-3 vote, the justice granted emergency appeal and lifted a Los Angeles judge's order that barred roving patrols from snatching people off Southern California streets based on how they look. Now, there's the other side of the coin here. Now, this is something where, as Americans, we don't want to just be stopped because maybe our mother is half Spanish and we immigrated the right way and our family has been here since the 1900s. This is something where nobody should have the ability to just stop and frisk you and say, hey, you're being detained for no reason. But it's kind of this huge trade-off, and it's this huge back and forth. There's things about this I really don't agree with either. Dex, do you want to share your opinion on this? Because we were talking about this before.
Well, I think this is going to open the door for them to expand this beyond California, which I think, as we'll talk about other cities, we're going to be talking about a lot of other cities. As we've heard, the National Guard being prepped up for lots of locations throughout America for the immigration, problem, as they call it, or the deportation and supporting ICE. So I think that this is going to give them more, I guess, leverage, because the judge shutting it down has certainly stopped one of the things they were doing. And now they can bring that back.
The thing is, I agree with some of this stuff. Like, I don't know how the media is going to portray it. I haven't watched CNN about this subject or Fox about this subject. But this kind of thing, here's where it gets scary. Look at what we are actually seeing. We're seeing a president that is teaming up with Palantir, that, you're having this database built on every single American. You have a government that is actually talking about potentially having these digital currencies, having everything tracked, traced. You're even talking about, the health department is one that a lot of people have now started to trust, talking about a universal thing for everybody, if you know what I mean. And I think a lot of people are really questioning right now, is there another side of the coin, and are both sides of the coin evil? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you disagree? Let me know why. And then DHS announces a midway blitz ICE operation in Chicago. Dex, as you said, multiple cities are having these kind of plans being made.
Exactly. So the Department of Homeland Security launched its latest crackdown. It's launching Operation Midway Blitz. If you're not familiar with Chicago, one of the big airports there, and the location is called Midway. And so they're doing this in honor of Katie Abrams, who was perished from a drunk driver hit and run car wreck caused by a criminal, illegal alien. And that's what they posted on their on the X platform from DHS. So the ICE operational target, those in who flocked to Chicago because of the governor there and the sanctuary policies, as they call them, that would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. Again, that's a quote from DHS. So I think this is part of, the one of the first steps we're seeing as Trump was alluding to potentially cleaning up Chicago as one of the many cities that has a crime problem. And it's easy for him to use ICE and go after the illegals because he's got laws that allow him to do that. It's not as easy for him to just roll in the National Guard without being invited just to deal with general crime on the street. He was able to do that in DC because he has laws that allow the federal government to manage the city of DC if it needs to, and he did, and that's how he was able to do that. It's not real easy for him to just say, I'm going to do that in Chicago, even though he keeps threatening to do it. But the mayor and the governor of that state, the mayor of that city, are obviously on the opposing political party and will never, it's very unlikely that they're going to call him up and say, please come help us. They're just not going to do that, which is very different than, say, Louisiana, where the mayor may be against him, but the governor is on the same side. So he was saying, hey, maybe New Orleans, we could roll in, and because I can get the governor to invite us in, and then I'll have support. But I think seeing this action from ICE is sort of that first step to what is the next step. And I know that they are looking at legal options to try to figure out how can they improve the crime level in many of the major cities in America at the federal level. And I think the struggle is, where do you draw the boundary between states' rights and, federal law? And, most people don't want a police state run by the feds, and I don't either. But at the same time, most people don't want to have a city that, you've got people perishing every day, multiple times a day. It's getting out of hand in a lot of locations.
Yeah, Chicago, I mean, it was a joke for years. It was like anytime something happened, a couple things happened in this state, it would be like, well, there's 70 on a Saturday in Chicago. As far as here in Seattle, I'm in a very, very specific kind of run place, and it's really bad. I don't know if you guys saw the video or the video I posted on Twitter of that same woman with the babies. She has somebody else that was in the parking lot at Walmart said she was from Somalia, but she has been out there every single night for like a year now. She comes right up to your window. I got video of this. She just approaches everybody. I have a baby. I have a poor baby. This is at 7 to 11 p.m. at one of the most dangerous parking lots in the city. More stabbings, more shootings, more, this and that than most any other Walmart. And she's out there with her baby getting these kind of pity, begs out. And it's sick. And you guys know what I said to her. I said, hey, I'll help you out one time. The rest of the times I said, this is one of the most dangerous places for you to have a baby. It's really, really gross that you're doing this. And the fact that you've done this every night, and the fact you've probably asked me 1,000 times and you still don't get that I'm not going to say yes. I mean, I have my 4 kids with me. The last time I saw her, I'll be straight up, and some of you might not like me. I wasn't rude. I walked straight up to her. She was about to come up to my window. I popped out and I said, hey, do you have $4? And she goes, oh, and she didn't understand. At first she's like, yes, I'll take $4. And I said, no. Do you have $4? I have 4 kids. You only have 1. Can I have $4? And I just straight turned it around on her, and she almost didn't understand it. And then she laughed at it. And I said, I don't think it's funny you have your baby out here at 10:30 in a freaking one of the worst drug shoot stab areas. Like, And on the little packs too. I thought it was gross. I'm pretty sure most of you have this going on. And this did not happen before like 2 years ago. This parking lot always had drug addicts, fentanyl stuff, people coming up going, hey, could I get $1? But it never had these coordinated rings that are, I mean, I guarantee you, they're always wearing nice clothes. They are out there 24/7 the entire time the place is open. You can sit there for a minute, like while we're getting our kids unsnuck from their seats and stuff. Somebody gives her $11, $20, $30 because she has a baby. I mean, in the 5 minutes it took us to unbuckle, she made like $55. And then she has the nerve to come up and ask for $1 when we're barely getting by. I said, hell no. You got $4? And she said, oh, yeah. She kept saying yes. And I said, okay, can I have $4? She said, no. I said, what do you mean? I just saw you make $55. I've got 4 kids. You got 1. Like, what the hell's up with that? Either way, do you guys have this happening in your city too? Coordinated rings, scams, these people that are scamming people at the grocery store. Oh, I've got kids. I need money for my kids. They go up to people at the grocery store. My daughter's a checker at the grocery store. She's seen a ton of this. If you're a checker at a grocery store, chime in. You've seen tons of this where it'll be a pretty lady. They'll go up to some unassuming, dummy that's got probably a smartwatch and an Apple phone, and they see ching, 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 and they go, oh, I just need to get a few vegetables. And then they grab a gift card of $200 and throw it onto the, the conveyor belt as they go through. This has happened so many times to my daughter, it's not even funny. And she is not allowed. She can lose her union job if she says anything about it. That's the kind of system that was set up over the last 5 years. And I think it's disgusting. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Before we move on, make sure to go check out Jace. This is our recommendation as far as if you don't have a kit of all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics, this is a really, really great service. It's very easy to use. You talk straight to a board-certified doctor right away via your telephone, via your cell phone, via your tablet, via your computer. And they will get basically discreetly sent to your door with this kit of all of these antibiotics. Not only that, there is an add-on list, which you can actually add on anything else on that list, like albuterol. If there's an asthmatic in the house, then you can go, hey, doc, I need this, and they'll throw it in. There's also Jace Daily, which is an awesome service for anybody that actually has a family member that has, something they're dependent on. Whether you believe it's a good thing that they're dependent on this medication or not, or if you even hate the medical establishment, I totally get you. But at the same time, does your grandma, does your mom, does your sister, does your brother have something where if they stop taking it, they're going to perish? Then you might want to look into something like Jace Daily, which is a year's supply of your regular medications. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jace for either. And again, make sure to use code MARF. Not only are you going to save money on every purchase, but you're also going to help our independent channel at the same time. Nobody gets to tell us what to say. Nobody gets to tell us what affiliates we have. We appreciate your support. And then thank you. Samuel Turner says, I hope I'm wrong, but everything looks like China and friends ready to attack in the next 30 days. It is what it is. Samuel Turner, I think, you've over the last 2 weeks, you've said similar things about the weather, everything coming together. Look at what it looks like right now. I'm not going to be an alarmist and say that, hey, World War III is kicking off the next month. But I will say my honest opinion is after seeing the last 2 weeks of stories and seeing the events that have just happened, I do believe it is possible, even though my best guess is 2026. I think that we might have a huge, massive drill from China, Russia, and friends, and then next year will be the real deal Holyfield. But something in my gut keeps telling me it's going to happen sooner as well. And then, Dex, the underwater sea cables were cut, and they're blaming certain groups. Let's go over that.
Yeah, certainly. So we did a short video on this over on news, so go check it out. Make sure you share that with your friends and family. That's why we do those short videos over there, because they're ideal for sharing versus the long format show. But look, that we were talking in there about the undersea cables, and this is always critical when these are getting cut. sure, maybe an accidental, shark can come along and bite a cable. Not really. But things can happen. But 9 times out of 10, when we hear about this, it's done deliberately, or it's done by an anchor drag. And even then, the anchor drags have looked to be deliberate, especially in today's time, because there's a lot of people a lot of the countries that have done it from a testing point of view, to see if they can get away with it, or what types of damage they can cause for a future role where they might cut the cables across a lot of locations all at once, which would be the signs of a conflict or the signs of a war. So, but in this particular case, the undersea cables were cut in the Red Sea. They disrupted internet access in parts of Asia and the Middle East, according to the experts. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the incident. There have been concerns about the Houthi rebels in that area, and the pressure they've been putting on. The question is it something they did, or was it something someone else did, or was it completely accidental? Probably not in the camp of accidental, but there are a lot of these undersea cables that are supplying the data and the connectivity and even the power in some cases for locations across the globe.
Judy Bailey says, hi, Marf, everyone. Hey, thank you for coming tonight. Yesterday, the Goodyear blimp floated down the Columbia River heading back to the Pacific. So weird. Milk and Honey, Heritage Farms. Hey, nice to see you. Lots of new names in here. Thank you so much. J Pass, Old School Fugu Fam. Hello, Stephanie Munoz, Old School Fugu Fam. So many awesome people. Courtly James, thank you so much, Sharon. Life is Better on Stilts, another Old School Fugu Fam. So many awesome people in here. Thank Sean A.K. Red. Thanks for being a member. Thank Frank Walls for being a member. Shirley Woolward. Stephanie for being a member. Kathy Paina, thank you for being a member, now hitting 12 months. Thank you so much. Now, with by the way, this whole week is going to be absolutely crazy. In my opinion, I think that we are potentially looking at the precipice of this, but I'm hesitant to say that it's this month. But I really hope that people understand. We've talked to a lot of military families, a lot of active and retired military members lately. They all believe it's going to happen by 2027 at the latest. And if you realize, think about how 2001 is now 24 years ago. Think about how fast 2 years is going to go. It's not a fun time to be in. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you. Oh, did we lose you already? Uh-oh. Did we lose Dex? Dex, are you there? I'm hoping he didn't get a storm there. Hopefully we're still live. All right. And then thank you so much. The end is near. Hi, Adam. Just wanted to drop in and say thanks for all you do and Dex do. 7 years and still the only news I use. Lots of love. The end is near. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's almost been a decade. And then thank you, Samuel Turner. Thank you, everybody that has supported tonight. Thank you, Dex, even though he can't.
Yeah, I had lost internet for a split second, so I'm here.
I thought,
but much love and great job.
Well, it's crazy. You get so many more. You're not having a storm, are you? You're just having an internet outage?
No, I just had an internet.
Because Dex,
it was quick.
You have so many more storms in Georgia than I do. Like, it's crazy how many times I've been on the phone or been on Zoom, and you have just crazy lightning and thunder and everything else. So I just assume that
we get it all here.
You've lost internet or there's a storm out of nowhere. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dex, and I appreciate you. And then, of course, thank you, everybody. OHIO. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It is a shoutro. Where we say thank you to the people that matter most. You. Thank you so much to our top supporters. Going to be making a song of dissatisfaction to some for our top supporters tonight. Top fans: Tim, Oliver Music, Samuel Turner, Lola Cafe, Kimbria, Stephen McMahon, The End Is Near, OG, Thomas Murphy, Heath Spear, Boring Hornet. and Wharton Fissel, Donna Honey, and so many more. Thank you.
The